Have you ever had trouble finding a friend?
You're my friend now.
Well, as the old saying goes, if you can't find a friend, make one. Cut off all the parts that you like from the people you know and sew them into a patchwork monster doll. It's gotta be the movie May. Yo, what's going on, everybody? How you doing today? Welcome back to the Film Archives, where I break down movies. That way I can answer the question for you, was it worth watching? I upload new videos every week, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any new videos. And today we'll be breaking down the movie May, a 2002 cult classic. With that out of the way, let's just get into the video. The movie starts off and we get a brief little scene of a girl who would appear to have gouged out her eye. It's quite brutal stuff. We then see a little girl talking to her mother, and her mother is explaining that she has a lazy eye, so she has to wear an eye patch. We then see the little girl has trouble making friends in school, and she's kind of treated as a pariah of sorts, kind of very ostracized. It's pretty sad, but she's left out and doesn't make a lot of friends. We're then shown a scene of her mom giving her a doll for her birthday, and she tells her that if she can't find a friend, make one. So she gives her a doll that used to be hers, and it's a creepy little doll named Susie. It's got real Island of the Doll vibes. Let me tell you something. It's not good. It's not good at all. We then see May as an adult who is still very awkward. She's talking to her doll, Susie, and she's really creepy. She's basically talking to the doll about how she likes certain parts of people, and she wishes that she can kind of pick and choose. It's pretty awkward. But we then see her spying on some guy who's a mechanic, and she's kind of obsessing over his hands. It's really weird. It's off-putting as hell.
Yeah, boy.
Real stalker vibes. We go to her optometrist, and he basically explains that her glasses help correct her lazy eye, and he's making contact lenses for her that will do the same thing. May asks if they'll be ready by Friday because she has a date that day, and she wants to get all the help that she can get. I will say this movie has really badass 2000s vibes. I'm not going to lie. Like, if you know. It's got really cool 2000s vibes. We then see May stalking the mechanic that she is clearly attracted to, but she follows him around multiple times throughout this movie, so it's very creepy. We then go to her work, where she works at the animal hospital. She's kind of the veterinarian assistant there, but we're briefly introduced to Anna Faris's character. Her name is Polly, and Polly asks May, what she's going to be for Halloween, and May just ignores her and tells Anna Faris, that she has a beautiful neck. And Polly's just like super, surprised by this and thinks it was really nice, and like thinks she's just straight up flirting with her. So she's like, what, hey, let's hang out. Call me, call me. It's real 2000 stuff. May then goes home, and we see her try on her contact lenses, and they do indeed fix her lazy eye. So, she shows her eyes to the dolly Susie. She's like, look at my friend, my eyes are working really good. It's really creepy stuff. She's then following the mechanic again, where she follows him into a coffee shop and just kind of watches him and stares at his hands. The mechanic, his name is Adam, he winds up falling asleep at the coffee shop, and May gets up and just like starts rubbing her face with his hands. It's really not good. It's super unsettling, I'm not gonna lie. We then go back to her work, where we see Polly, her coworker, Anna Faris's character. She's flirting with them, and we get a little flirtation scene. It's pretty cool. We then go to the laundromat, where May is doing laundry, and she runs into the mechanic from earlier. Adam ran out of laundry soap, so May offers hers, and they kind of introduce themselves to each other. It's really cute stuff. Adam, the mechanic, asks May if she wants to go outside and have a cigarette with him, and May doesn't smoke. So, it's a really awkward moment out there. They hang out while they're doing laundry, and they kind of flirt a little bit. It's pretty cool. And right before Adam leaves, he tosses her the rest of his cigarettes and says, here, practice smoking. So he's a very good influence on her, very good influence indeed. May then returns to her house, where we see that she's like full on obsessed with this guy, Adam. And she's talking to herself, and she's talking to her dolly, Susie, about Adam, and, everything. It's very, very creepy. She's sleeping with his pack of cigarettes, so she's like so obsessed, it's all kinds of bad. I'm not gonna lie, she's very clearly unstable. It's not good at all. We then see May on her way to work, where she runs into Adam on the street, and Adam invites her to have lunch with him. So, they hang out in the park, and he cuts his sandwich in half, and they hang out. Adam asks May what she does for work and what she does. And May tells him that she works at the animal hospital and she sews her own clothes. May gives us a little dialogue about some of the gruesome surgeries she performs on the dogs. And she's like clearly amused by this. So it's not good, it's pretty unsettling. Like, I didn't want to go into too much detail there because it's a little too much. You know what I mean? It's a little too much, but it's pretty awkward. Not going to lie. After that, Adam is like so intrigued by her that he's like, can I see you later again tonight? And of course, May agrees. We then see May has returned home where she sews a new dress for herself and for her date with Adam. And, there's that. We then see them meet up later that night where they are sitting in an old car and, they're kind of sharing chips and flirting and, having a little romance moment. And shortly after, they go up to Adam's apartment, and Adam shows May his room, which is filled with like a bunch of weird, kooky shit all over the place. It's got real serial killer vibes. Like, take a look at this.
What is that?
And let's take a look at that.
What the fuck is that?
Because it's fucking weird. It's weird as hell. But they wind up kissing, and May gets a little too aggressive. She gets a little overly aggressive, and she winds up like pushing Adam super hard into the dresser. And Adam's a little off put by this, and he's like, who taught you how to kiss? And May clearly upset, so she just leaves abruptly and goes home. And it's not good. She just goes total bash bros on Susie the doll, because apparently Susie the doll is the one who told her how to kiss. So she gets super mad and just like bashes the case in. And, it's really creepy, but then she feels bad. So she winds up like holding the creepy little doll. It's fucking creepy as hell. We then go back to May's work at the animal hospital, where we see Anna Faris's character, Polly, flirting with May and, kind of dancing with her. It's like really sexy stuff, And then she also gives her cat named Loopy. Because apparently Anna Faris's landlord does not like cats and she's not allowed to keep them. So, she gives May the cat. It's pretty cool stuff. We then see May go home and she calls Adam, which is really funny because he has like a really early 2000s vibe, like voicemail machine. Here, take a look at it.
Please leave a message after the scream.
But yeah, she basically calls him and she leaves him a message, asking him to call her back. So there's that, We then see May waiting outside of Adam's house, and he like opens the door and finds her there. And, he asks her how long she's been there. And she's like, oh, no, I've only been here for 4 hours. And it's really creepy. But I mean, if somebody's waiting outside my house for 4 hours, I would fucking call the police. Like, that's a huge red flag. But I guess not to him, because Adam's like, oh, yeah, sorry I haven't called you back. But, I've been working and I've been really busy finishing my college film. Would you like to see it? May's like, sure, I'd love to see your movie. So May invites him back to her apartment, and she wants to watch the movie that he made. So Adam shows her his film, and I guess it's titled Jack and Jill or something like that.
We shared mom's womb. We were roommates.
The movie basically shows like two young people. I guess they're in love. They go on like a picnic, and shortly into the movie, they wind up eating each other. It's like real B-movie shit. It's pretty terrible. But May becomes like super horny. Like, she needs to go to horny jail, but she gets like super turned on from the cannibalism that she's seeing. Like, she gets like really turned on when she sees them eating each other. It's fucking weird. But they then have a little sexy time, and they like start really kissing and making out and, feeling each other's bodies. And she winds up biting Adam's lip and like makes him bleed super bad, and then she like puts the blood all over her face. It's fucking creepy out there shit. But Adam finally gets weirded out and is like, you know what, I gotta go. Like, this is just too weird for me. So he's like, I don't want no part of this shit, and he fucking leaves and he dips out. So he leaves. Yeah, he leaves. We then see May go like berserk ape shit, and she shouts at the doll, and she's like, I told you to face the goddamn wall.
I told you to face the goddamn wall.
It's honestly really funny. But yeah, she blames Susie for, things going wrong, and she, like shoves her into the closet. It's really weird. We then see May stalking Adam again outside of his apartment, and she overhears him talking And he's talking to his roommate about how, he basically escaped her and that she's a psycho. And he basically wants nothing to do with her because she's a lunatic. It's pretty sad, actually. Obviously hurts May's feelings a lot. And nobody deserves to be treated like that, no matter how weird you are. But we also see that he already has a new girlfriend. So, May's completely devastated. It's really sad. So she dips. She gets super mad and goes home. And she has like a little doll that represents Adam, and she cuts his hands off with scissors. It's like really foreboding and very creepy. I will say it's very creepy. We then see that Polly, her coworker, has called her and is inviting her over to her place, and basically May at this point is like so upset that she just goes over there and, she agrees. And we see that Polly is like super attracted to May, and they have a brief little sexy time. So, that's pretty cool, I guess. It's pretty cool, I guess. But, at this point, May is like super obsessed and like fixated on Polly's neck and, keeps like making weird ass remarks about it. So, yeah, there's that. We then see May has volunteered at a school for the blind.
Oh, what kind of kids were they? Retarded, deaf, crippled, dumb?
She wants to volunteer for these blind kids, and these are the same blind kids that were in the park that she was sharing the sandwich with Adam in earlier in the movie. She takes like a liking to a little depresso girl. Her name's Petey, but she clearly reminds May of her younger self. She's kind of an outcast just like her, and she's blind and, has vision problems just like May did when she was younger. So she goes up to her and talks to her, and turns out that this little girl, Petey, is making like an ashtray, and she's like, I don't smoke, but I'm just going to give it to someone who does smoke. And turns out May, after she met Adam, is now a smoker. So she's like, you know what, I'll give you the ashtray when I'm done with it. But she makes her the ashtray, and we see a little later that May has an ashtray with her name in it. It's really cute, It's very cute that the kid did that for her. We then see May run into Adam at the laundromat again, where they met the first time, and they're doing laundry. And he full-on avoids her and, basically makes excuses. And it's like, yeah, these machines are broken, so I'm going to go to the other laundromat, the fluff and fold, and I'm going to go there. It's really sad, though. He just totally avoids her and, kind of ghosts her. Super devastated, obviously. May is like, you know what, I'm just going to go to Polly's house, my coworker, and at least she likes me and is attracted to me, and, maybe she'll comfort her. And as soon as she gets there, she finds that Polly has like another girl at her house, and it's, like the worst case scenario at this point. But May is like really upset, so she just goes home and cries. And honestly, it's really sad. She's pretty much like at her low point here because, Adam is avoiding her. Polly, who said that she like really likes May, is just like fucking all the bitches. But yeah, it's really sad because, May thought that Polly actually cared about her. So she goes home clearly upset by this and, just wants her cat that Polly gave her, Loopy, to just, give her attention and, like maybe comfort her. And like the cat just refuses to go near her and like hisses at her. And listener alert, some animal violence here, so if you don't like that, just skip ahead. It's not good. May at this point gets like super angry and has pretty much reached her tipping point, so she grabs the ashtray that little blind girl made for her earlier and just like throws it at the cat, and it like shatters and like kills the cat. It's total cat killer stuff. It's crazy, but yeah, it shatters the ashtray and the cat's dead. It's really sad. And she's like tripping out at that point and starts like thinking that Susie the doll is talking to her, and she's talking to herself. It's real psycho shit. We then see May call Adam again, asking to see him, and he's like avoiding her to the most extreme at this point, basically just saying, I have plans like right away. And, it's like really fucked up, dude. I'm not going to lie. But we then see May return to the school where she has taken Susie to show the kids. And, she wants to kind of introduce the kids to her friend Susie. And, there's that, I guess. Little blind kids start acting like real little shits, and they want to take Susie out of her glass case. And May's like, no, she doesn't come out. She's very fragile. But the kids just refuse to listen to her. So, they wind up like breaking the case and breaking the doll because it's made out of glass. And it's bad because they're blind as shit and they can't see anything. So they start like feeling all over the ground, which they cut up their dirty little hands from the glass. It's Crime in a River. Wow, it's like real baby shit. But, the kids get hurt pretty bad. I'm not going to lie. They're friggin' kneeling in broken glass. And then, they wind up like touching May's face, and some of the glass gets in her eye. And her eyes aren't already messed up, so it's even worse at this point. But yeah, it's pretty bad. Pretty bad. It's a pretty gnarly scene. May then returns home, and she's like full on just devastated at this point. You know, she's got a ruined doll with her, and she is like really sad, but she has like a full on meltdown. And we see that she winds up sleeping with her dead cat, and you know, she's holding like the broken doll Susie. She's like holding her broken remains. And yeah, it's really bad. But we see that Polly has called her and basically is like, hey, are you okay? You haven't showed up for work in 2 days. It's just not good in general. It's not good at all, you know? We see that the glass that got in her eye is like really messed it up because it's all bloody and gross. It's like really messed up shit. It's terrible. The next day, May is like, you know, feeling better. So she's decided to go back to work, and she's at the bus stop where she meets like a young punk rocker. You know, it's like real Long Beach punk rocker vibes.
You're frying, man. How much acid did you take?
But he's like, hey, you want to go get some candy with me and, you know, eat some jujubes? And she's like, sure, yeah, that sounds good. And they wind up going back to May's apartment, and she's like, yeah, I really like the tattoo on your arm. It's nice. And he's like, oh, gee, thanks. I'm really hot. Mind if I take off my shirt? So he like winds up taking off his shirt, and he's like, I'm still burning up. You got any ice cubes I could rub on my nipples? I swear to God, I couldn't make that up. So he like goes into her kitchen and opens her freezer, you know, trying to get some ice for his nipples because he's super hot and wants to rub ice all over his nipples. It's fucking ridiculous. But as he opens the freezer, he sees that May has stuffed Loopy, the dead cat, inside the freezer. So it's pretty off-putting. It's pretty fucking creepy. So he's like, wow, this is really creepy. You're a freak, and, you know, calls her a freak. And at this point, I think she just finally snaps, you know, and like really loses it after everybody has just been like treating her like shit, you know, disregarding her feelings, calling her a freak. And I mean, you have to think that this has been her entire life. You know, she's been ostracized as a child. She's now an adult. She's still being treated like an outcast. You know, people aren't taking her seriously. So I think she just finally had enough, you know. She grabs her sewing scissors, which are like super buff ones, and stabs him in the head, like very brutally, I will say too, you know. And it's gnarly as hell. She kills him. Yeah, she murders him right then and there with the sewing scissors, and she just like stares at his dead body for a while. And after a certain point, she's just like, you know what? I need more parts. We then see Adam run into May at the park, and he apologizes to her for how things ended between them, and she's just like, oh, I'm so good, don't even worry about it, it's totally fine. And then you know, like the whole time she's talking to him, she's just staring at his hands like only, and is like being real weird. But she basically is like goodbye, and like says goodbye to his hands. It's out there, brother. Let me tell you, it's out there. It's some real weirdo shit. We then see May call Polly and, you know, is like, hey, I want to make you a new blouse just to apologize for the way I left your house the other day, so upset. And Polly's like, yeah, sure, come on over. And sure enough, May goes over and starts taking measurements of her, which is pretty weird. And she's like, you know, you have such a beautiful neck. I love your neck. And she also meets Polly's new girlfriend there, whose name's Ambrosia. Real cool names, like a total porn star name, Ambrosia. But yeah, it's pretty cool. We then see May look at Polly's hands, and it has like a mole on the finger here. And she's like, have you ever thought about getting this removed? You know? And Polly's like, no, I think our imperfections are what make us perfect. Wouldn't you agree? And she's like, no, I wish I could pick all the perfect parts of people. And it's real weirdo shit, you know. We then see May return to her work, where she steals like a bunch of surgery tools and puts them in her bag. And then we also see her buy an ice chest, which, if you know true crime, this is not a good sign. This is not a good sign at all. It is now Halloween night, and we see that May has created a dress and dressed herself up to look exactly like her doll Susie. And I will say she did a very good job. She puts on like very pale makeup and creates, you know, pretty much the spitting image of her little doll Susie's dress. And she looks pretty cool, you know. It's a cool costume, I will say that. She pretends to be like super normal and, you know, like nothing's bothering her. And, you know, she calls up Polly and is like, hey, can I come over and give you your blouse? And, you know, of course, Polly is like, yeah, sure, come on over. It's Halloween. We're having a Halloween party. Come over and have a few drinks. And it's cool. And she goes over there, and she's just like immediately gets down to business. And she's takes out 2 scalpels and is like pretending to, kind of like be sexual with Polly. And Polly's like, oh, I know you would never hurt me. It's just Halloween. And sure enough, she slits her throat right then and there with the scalpels that she took from her work earlier. So it's not good. There's blood everywhere all over the living room. It's quite grisly. We then see Polly's girlfriend Ambrosia arrive, and May's like, you have really nice legs. It's really funny. She's like, nice gams. And she's like, what is that? And she's like, your legs, nice legs. I've never heard anybody call legs gams before, but it's pretty good. I've definitely been using it in my real life now, and that's for sure. But May says, she really likes him. And sure enough, she's like, oh, thanks. And Ambrosia's a real bitch, so you don't really feel bad about this. But May just stabs her straight in the temples with the scalpels. And it's just like super brutal stuff, dude. It's gnarly. It's absolutely crazy. We then see May walking on the street, and, she's like covered in blood at this point, but it's Halloween, so people think she's just, has like a creepy costume on. Like, little did they know that blood is real, homie. We then see May at Adam's house, where she's paid a visit to him, and she's very creepy. May immediately is like, Adam, I need them. And he's like really confused, but she's clearly referring to his hands, and it's very awkward. Adam's new girlfriend's a real bitch, so she's like, yeah, come on in. This is your ex-girlfriend. Come on in and have some vodka with us. And Adam and his new girlfriend are already like super drunk, but May's like, sure, thanks for inviting me in, and is being really creepy. And she's like, touch my face, Adam, please. And his current girlfriend is like, yeah, go ahead, touch her, Adam. And they're just being hella rude, they're fucking little shits, but it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. We then see her just go, berserk, and she fucking murders his girlfriend right in front of Adam. And I will say his reaction is priceless. Pure gold. She basically murders them both with her scalpels, and yeah, it's pretty gnarly, We then see May return home, where she basically creates like a patchwork monster doll, her new friend, but she makes like a life-sized human doll made out of different parts of all the people she's killed recently. We see that the arms are made from the punk rocker, because he's got the punk rocker's tattoo. It's got Polly's neck. Ambrosia, Polly's girlfriend, it's her legs, and it's got Adam's hands and his girlfriend's ears. And it's really weird, but she uses the cat's fur as hair, and it's some real next level sicko shit. I'm not even gonna lie. Then see her try to think of a name for her patchwork human doll. So she uses like the pieces of the ashtray from earlier that had May, and she kind of like rearranges the letters, and she calls the doll Amy. It's pretty weird, but she starts talking to the doll, and is like, I don't need to tell you, you just know what I'm gonna say. And she's like, I wish you could see me. No one sees me, which is really sad. Obviously, it's like no one really saw her for her. It's like clearly like she has a mental illness, and people just treated her like shit. It's super sad. I mean, it's realistic to how people would be in real life, honestly. But she's like, I just want someone to see me, and you have no eyes. Of course you can't see me. So we then see a scene which is just so gruesome. She gouges out her own lazy eye and like uses her own eye for the doll. It's fucking insane. But this is the scene that we get at the beginning, so it's a full circle moment in the movie. It's really crazy. But at this point she's crying in pain and is like bleeding all over the place. So she just like collapses onto the doll and just starts like caressing it, like real sicko shit. But shortly after, we see that the patchwork doll has come to life, and it brushes her face real gently, and we see that it's Adam's hands, brushing against her face very affectionately and gently, and it's obviously in her head, but I think this is a very good interpretation of what mental illness is like. It's not easy, and I mean, she's clearly got like DID or something like that, but it's fucking creepy. I'm not gonna lie. It's not like super scary jump scare, but it's like very unsettling and like suspenseful. Kind of reminds me of some of the more old school horror films. But yeah, that's the way the movie ends. Was this movie worth watching? I would say yes. It was a short, fun movie. It was very suspenseful and unsettling, but in a good way, And I would say it kind of shines a light on mental illness and kind of highlights how poorly society treats them. And overall, it has some really dope 2000s vibes. If you know. And if you're into that, you're really gonna like it. But I can also see why this movie became a cult classic. It's just unique. It's kind of like slightly humorous, but very dark. Vibes. All right, that will do it for this movie. If you got this far into the video, make sure to smash that like button below and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. But until next time, peace.
Give me your body parts, because I want to make a motherfucking counterpart of you, so that way I don't have to do any work. I just have a patchwork motherfucker to say word.